Welcome to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm Curtis Smith. Today we're visiting with Dr. George Dickerson, Extension Horticulture Specialist who works with vegetable and small fruit crops. And this time of the year we ought to be out in the garden getting our vegetable garden ready.
Yes, and up here in northern New Mexico it's still cool, but we'd like to get an early tomato crop off. So we're going to talk about ways that we can protect that tomato crop. But the first thing we need to do is prepare the soil. And this soil tends to be a little low on phosphorus, so we're going to put some phosphorus fertilizer on. Turn it under with a garden fork because we need to have that phosphorus down in the soil where the roots can grow to it, because phosphorus doesn't remove very readily with water. Then we're going to incorporate a little bit more with a rototiller, then rake it nice and smooth so we have a nice smooth bed to plant on.
George, starting a garden early in northern New Mexico means we've got to be careful about the soil temperature. What can we do to warm these cool soils up?
Well, growers, a lot of times we use black plastic like this. The problem is it doesn't breathe and it doesn't allow water through it, so they use drip irrigation underneath it. What I've been using here in the last few years is this landscape fabric. You can see that it's a woven type material. It's going to allow water to penetrate it as well as warm up the soil. It controls weeds, and it helps cut down on evaporation of moisture from the soil. And we hold this down using these little fabric pins like this. And basically what we do is we just cut a hole down through the black plastic like this with a knife, and then we'll come in here, dig that soil out of the bottom underneath like this, dig down there fairly well, then take our little transplant tomato here, put it down inside there, make the, pad the soil up around it, or kind of pile that soil up around it, make sure you got it firmed in there good, and then give it a good drink. Now, Curtis, we've protected the plant now in terms of the soil temperature. One of the problems we have to worry about now is frost. So one of the things we're going to do is put this bucket over the top of it and put what we call a wall of water around it. And what that bucket does is it helps give it a little bit of structure as we take this hose here, and we're going to start filling these things up. And these little as we fill this thing up with water, that water is going to absorb heat during the daytime, release that heat at night, and help protect that plant from frost. Of course, Curtis, the last thing we got to do is get this bucket out of here so we can put a little bit more water in there, and that plant's ready to go.
Okay, so now we're protecting it against frost, but we've also got the soil covered. We're heating the soil. That'll speed the growth. We've got something that's going to conserve moisture, keep the weeds down, and we fertilized. So we've got this garden ready rolling. I'm looking forward to some early tomatoes.